You know that feeling when you're working hard in the gym, eating clean, watching the scale drop, but your lower belly just won't budge? That stubborn pocket of fat that makes you feel like all your effort isn't paying off. I know it too well. I remember looking in the mirror, proud of my shoulders and arms getting leaner, but then I'd see that soft layer on my stomach hanging on for dear life. It felt like my body was fighting against me. But here's the good news. I eventually lost that weight, and in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how I did it. The mindset shifts, the nutrition tweaks, the training approach, and the one tool that saved me months of frustration. By the end, you'll know not only how to lose belly fat, but how to keep it off for good. Let's build. I wasn't always lean. In fact, the first time I tried to diet down, I did what most people do. I dropped calories too low, doubled my cardio, gave up the late night fast food orders, and prayed my belly fat would disappear. The scale went down, sure, but I looked in the mirror and still saw the same squishy stomach. I felt flat everywhere except my midsection. That's when the frustration really hit. I thought, maybe my genetics just won't allow me to have visible abs. Maybe this isn't for me. And that thought nearly made me quit. But here's what changed everything. I stopped focusing on quick fixes and started paying attention to what was actually happening inside my body. I learned there are two types of fat stored around your stomach. Visceral fat, which hides deep inside around your organs and actually wraps around them, squeezing and stressing them by releasing inflammatory chemicals, and subcutaneous fat, which sits right under the skin. The interesting part, visceral fat goes first, even if you can't see it. So during those first few weeks, when I thought nothing was happening, I was actually making massive improvements to my health. That invisible fat was being burned, protecting my heart, lowering my risk for diabetes, and giving me a chance to eventually lean out my waist. But the subcutaneous fat, that soft, pinchable layer, that's more stubborn. That's why it felt like nothing was working. My mistake was thinking results weren't happening fast enough when, in reality, I just hadn't gone far enough yet. It's like if the Philadelphia Eagles were to quit during the playoffs because they hadn't reached the Super Bowl fast enough. It takes time. You just have to keep showing up to practice. I hate to get all nerdy on you, but here's the part most people never tell you. Belly fat resists change because it has more alpha-2 receptors. Those are like locks on fat cells that make it harder for your body to release stored energy. Meanwhile, areas like your arm or face have more beta receptors, which make fat easier to burn. That's why you see your jawline or shoulders pop before your stomach. Genetics also play a role. Some guys store fat evenly, some in their legs, and others, like me, hold it right in their belly and love handles. So when I thought I was almost there, the truth was I needed to keep going longer than I expected. Most people underestimate how much total fat they need to lose before abs show. What feels like 15 pounds away might actually be 30 or more. Think of it like drying a puddle. The edge disappears first, but the middle, your stomach, is the last to dry up. That's belly fat in a nutshell. On top of that, things like water retention and high stress hormones can make your belly look puffier than it actually is. Poor sleep, lots of sodium, or high cortisol can temporarily mask fat loss. That's why tracking your habits and looking at progress over weeks, not days, matters. Now, here's where I nearly sabotaged myself. Tracking my food, I used to hate it. I'd be typing in every single ingredient into an app, wasting 10 minutes just to log one meal. It made me obsessive. I'd feel guilty if I went even a few calories over my daily target, and that guilt often pushed me into an all-or-nothing mindset. I'd say, forget it, and overeat, undoing days of progress. The whole process felt tedious and mentally exhausting until I eventually quit and my progress stalled. That's when I started recently using Cal AI. It makes calorie tracking as easy as taking a picture. You literally snap a photo of your meal, and Cal AI breaks down the calories and macros for you. No typing, no guessing. And from my experience, it's surprisingly accurate. I still double-check the ingredients after the scan, and if it misses anything, I just edit it within seconds. For anyone who really wants precision, the app has a full food database with thousands of items, giving you detailed nutrition info so you can hit your macros perfectly. And when those late-night cravings hit, the barcode scanner makes logging snacks quick and effortless. For me, this was a game changer. I'm not trying to compete for a bodybuilding show, I just wanted to stay lean without wasting time and effort. Cal AI gave me that. If you're serious about making real progress, stop guessing and start tracking. Just click the link in the description and use my code BRICKBODY for a free 3-day trial. You'll support the channel and finally get the accuracy your results deserve. Part of that tracking process was finally learning my TDEE, my total daily energy expenditure. This is basically the number of calories your body burns in a day, and it's made up of several parts. Your BMR, basal metabolic rate, the calories your body burns just to keep you alive, the thermic effect of food, the small boost in energy it takes to digest and process meals, your activity level from planned workouts, and your NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis. All the calories you burn from things like walking, cleaning, or even fidgeting. Once I figured out my TDEE, I knew exactly how much to eat to stay in a slight deficit without starving myself. Let me give you an example. My TDEE came out to around 2,800 calories. So, to put myself in a small deficit, I subtracted about 500 and aimed to eat 2,300 calories on days when I felt hungrier or was training hard, and closer to 2,200 calories on days when I wasn't as hungry or wasn't working out. If you don't know yours, go to a site like tdeecalculator.net, punch in your height, weight, and activity level, and you'll get a solid estimate. From there, eat just a bit below that number, 300 to 500 calories lower, so you can lose fat steadily without being extremely hungry. The hardest truth I had to face? Losing belly fat sucks. It does require a bit of restriction and sacrifice. You can play games with low-calorie ice cream, different diet setups like keto or carnivore, or even try to find the healthiest food you can order at a fast food place, but at the end of the day, you're gonna be hungry sometimes no matter what. You'll need to tell yourself that chicken breast tastes better than pizza. You'll need to convince yourself that a walk beats sitting on the couch. And you'll need to resist the urge to reward yourself with junk food after a good workout. Alcohol and liquid calories also sneak in here. They add up fast and can stall fat loss if you're not careful. What saved me wasn't perfection, it was consistency. I learned to stop aiming for the perfect plan and instead commit to the boring basics every single day. A sustainable calorie deficit, lifting 3 to 4 times a week, 8 to 12K steps daily, enough sleep, and enough protein. That's it. No secret, just execution. And when I say enough protein, I mean really prioritizing it. Getting close to a gram per pound of your goal body weight makes dieting so much easier. Protein keeps you full, protects your muscle, and even has a higher thermic effect than carbs or fat, meaning your body burns more calories just digesting it. If you don't know what exact foods are high in protein, check out my video called The 5 Best Foods That'll Make You Lose Weight after you finish this one. Another thing that really helped was gratitude. Even though I was eating smaller portions during this time, I reminded myself to be grateful for the food on my plate, because some people don't have any. And I was also grateful that I even had the opportunity to change my body. I wasn't starving. I was a bit overweight, and I had the power to do something about it. That perspective shift made the process feel lighter and gave me another reason to stick with it. And here's the real kicker. The moment I accepted that this was going to take longer than I thought, I stopped quitting. That shift alone kept me going when motivation faded. I also learned how important it is to stay in the present moment and actually find a way to enjoy the process instead of obsessing over the finish line. A book that helped me with this was The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. One of his key lessons is that when you live in the future, always waiting for results, you suffer twice. Once in the moment, and again when expectations aren't met. But when you focus on the now, you see the small wins. You value the steps, and the journey itself becomes lighter. That perspective helped me stop rushing and finally stay consistent. Here's a part no one prepares you for. What happens after the diet? Because 90% of people regain the fat they lose. And I did multiple times too. Why? Because my mind shift was tied to the goal of losing belly fat, not the lifestyle of staying lean. Once the diet ended, my old habits started creeping back in, and old habits bring back old results. The 10% who keep the weight off, they don't go back. Eating healthy isn't a temporary plan. It's who they are. Walking isn't just steps for fat loss, it's part of their day. Lifting isn't just a program, it's their weekly rhythm. The habits that got them lean became part of their identity. They do things a lean person would do without thinking about it. That's when I realized if I wanted to stay lean, I couldn't live the same way I used to. I had to become a completely different person when it comes to my habits around food and fitness. The kind of person who couldn't imagine skipping workouts or binging on junk. And this is why it's so important to fall in love with the actual habits. Doing those 30-minute incline walks daily. Going for that morning 20-minute walk. Putting a walking pad in front of your TV. Or making it a ritual to work out first thing in the morning, even while on vacation. These are the things that make staying lean sustainable for years. Because ideally, you don't want to track calories forever. Tracking is just training wheels. The goal is to naturally eat healthier portions and move enough that it becomes second nature. That's the real transformation. And just so you set realistic expectations, for most people, we're talking months, not weeks. At a safe pace of 1 pound per week, dropping 25 to 30 pounds might take 6 to 8 months. And that's okay. Because when you learn to enjoy the process, the time passes anyway, and the results stick. So, with all that being said, I know what it's like to feel stuck, to work hard and not see the progress you want, to wonder if it's even possible for you. But I promise you this, stubborn belly fat isn't unbeatable. It just takes more time, more patience, and more consistency than you think. Remember, every time you want to quit, you might already be burning visceral fat, improving your health in ways you can't see yet. Every time you stay in the fight a little longer, you're one step closer to tapping into that stubborn layer. Once it's gone, if you build the habits to keep it that way. And here's the thing, if you learn to love the process itself, it doesn't even have to feel like a fight. So if you're ready to stop repeating the same cycle of crash diets and frustration, commit to the process. Track your food, lift your weights, hit your steps, and get your sleep. Build the lifestyle, not just the diet, and the results will come brick by brick. If this video helped you, hit that subscribe button for more real, no shortcut fitness advice. And don't forget to check the link in the description for Cal AI with my code BRICKBODY for a free trial. Start tracking smarter today, and I'll see you in the next video.